Good morning, Bucs fans. This is Old School from whatthebuck.net with our preview for the New England Patriots preseason game. Tonight at Raymond James Stadium, the Bucs will take on the New England Patriots, who are a far sight better than the Kansas City Chiefs are in preseason, at least by statistics anyway. It could be that KC isn't looking at doing the same things in preseason that the Bucs and the Patriots are trying to do. But when you look at the stat sheet of the Patriots' previous game, you're looking at a team coming in, combined their quarterbacks between Hoyer and Mallett. They were 27 of 40 for 335 yards and 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. That's a team that's going to put the ball up in the air. That's something we didn't see Kansas City doing, either because they couldn't, because they were getting sacked and there was a lot of pressure, or because that wasn't their game plan. Now, it wasn't like New England was only throwing the ball. They also ran the ball very efficiently. They were over 120 yards on the ground across a number of different players, and in general looked like the kind of juggernaut that New England typically is thought to be. Now, in the preseason, we don't do breakdowns of individual teams, but it is good to see what the teams are doing in the preseason. And in this particular case, it looks like New England is trying to score every time they touch the ball, which is kind of a novel concept since that's the point of an offense. They were 4 of 4 on goal-to-go situations. Their red zone offense was 100%, as was their goal-to-go offense. They had 1 punt the entire day. This is the kind of a test that the Buccaneers need to face, to be quite honest, based on what we saw in Kansas City. And for the Buccaneers, we need to see if the performance in Kansas City was indicative of their true performance, or whether this was an aberration against a team that wasn't particularly putting out a lot of effort. So, for us, we want to see the same kind of things we wanted to see going into the Kansas City games. We want to see the offensive line dominate. That means protect whoever the quarterback is, give them the time to make their progressions, get the ball out, create running lanes for guys like LeGarrette Blount and Craig Lumpkin, see if we can get maybe Alan Bradford untracked, etc. But that trench game, trench warfare, has got to be an area where we are focusing on. And we really did a great job in Kansas City. Going to see if we can do the same thing against a much better team in New England. On the flip side of the ball, on the defensive line side, and you heard Steve White and I talking about this on Two Hand Touch and on What the Buck, this is about seeing whether the sacks were, again, an aberration or whether that's something that we can expect out of this defensive front and the defensive scheme. Will we be able to get to the quarterback of the New England Patriots? That was not something that happened last week against New England. So we'll see if we can see Michael Bennett start to pop, Adrian Claiborne, these guys in the middle. With the injuries that are going on, you've got a lot of guys getting a chance to play that maybe you didn't expect to see as much of. So we'll see if that same thing can happen on the defensive side of the ball. Now, I'd like to see improved accuracy out of Josh Freeman. I thought he had a good game last week, but not as good as I expect out of him after seeing him in camp. There are a number of adjustments the receivers made to make catches. I'd like to see him hitting guys in stride. He's certainly capable of it. It's a matter of him getting the rush shaken off, and I think he'll be able to do that. And the last thing that I want to see from a establishment perspective is I'd like to see us establish the run. I thought we ran the ball well in Kansas City. I'd like to see LeGarrette look more decisive with his cuts. I'd like to see a couple of decent long runs broken off and see how our receivers are doing blocking downfield. I'd like to see us be able to dictate in the ground game. And again, we've got to see who's going to bubble to the top. Craig Lumpkin, I think, surprised a lot of people. He played very well in Kansas City. I think he's got the lead now for that third down back if we're not going to see a guy like Ernest Graham in there. And as long as the fullback situation is what it is, we're not going to know how that's going to turn out until we get guys healthy again. Rendrick Taylor, I didn't think looked particularly good last week, and we didn't see Eric Lorig. Now, on the secondary side, we've got some injuries, some guys that aren't going to play. Got to see if the Anthony Gator story can continue to look good with him playing as well as he did last week, see if the secondary can come up with some big plays. But in general, I think we still want to see the foundation of this team start to solidify itself, and that means stop the run and protect the passer, create running lanes. So we'll see how it comes out after Raymond James Stadium. Hopefully there'll be a few more fans than I expect at the stadium tonight, and we'll do a review video this weekend.